Okay, hey guys, I think I am live here. I'm gonna wait for some comments. Oh yes, hello. Good to see you guys. I'm just getting set up. Feel free to send me a few comments as we get going and let everyone else join. Oh, so great to see so many people. Hello. Great. Can't wait. Yeah, me too. I'm excited. I needed a cocktail at 10 o'clock this morning. Hi, Lissa. Good to see you, honey. Thank you guys so much. Lissa told me today that people were Instagramming their setups, getting all ready for the cocktail session. So that's so awesome. Wow. Hey, guys. So good to see all of you. Yes, Daisy Bell. I'm so excited too. Awesome. You got some Portland gin? Sweet. I got some Kentucky gin today. I'm going down south. I'm going Kentucky today, but I love, of course, all the Portland gins out there. They're so delicious. Oh, thank you about our cookbook. I want to tell you actually, while we're waiting for everyone to join, we've still got 5 minutes, that I'm big on production on another cookbook. It's aptly named A Sip and a Nibble. So it's a new cookbook that Lissa and I have finished all the photography for. It's beautiful. And basically one page is going to be a cocktail and a photo, and the next page will be the perfect bite that matches that cocktail. So the book is all set up seasonally with then cocktail and drinks recipes throughout. So we're so excited to get that to you guys. Hi everyone. Oh, I love you too. So good to see you. Excellent. While, yeah, this is amazing. And thank you. You know, this is our first Instagram Live. So thank you all for, kicking us into the stratosphere of technology. Hipcooks was a little lacking, I know. So it's really wonderful to have this platform. I was chatting with all of our managers last night. We did a sample class to see how a Zoom class would go with interactivity, and it was so much fun. And we were thinking that it should just be a regular at Hipcooks moving forward. So yeah, sometimes you get these wonderful silver linings with things. So hey everybody, so good to see you. Thanks for waving and joining. I can see your comments fairly soon. I will, after the chat, I will be sharing my screen with another Hipcooks teacher, and we'll start organizing all your questions. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you loved the cookbook, and especially the Persian food. Me too. I've been dreaming about Persian food, and in fact, I'll be blogging many more Persian recipes this month. I just want lots of herbs and lots of different, fresh, sour, wonderful flavors. So stay tuned for many more exotic recipes on the blog that you can prepare with ingredients in your cupboard. Hooray! So yeah, hey Carrie, good to see you. Hey, oh, thank you for your love. It's so awesome. Oh, I love this platform. And I hope soon your sister, oh yes, thank you. Nice, Cutie Pie Escape, I love it. Hey Linda Fraser, nice to see you joining us. The next live class I'm going to do probably will be on YouTube, and we can also do some Zoom classes as well, where I can change to gallery views so that we can all see one another. So I think that will be more fun. It would certainly be fun for me. I can see your text coming in. I know, exciting. I can see your texts coming in, but to see your wonderful faces would give me the nutrition that I need right now as well. Hey, Dave Zobel, so good to see you. I'm so glad you made it. Thanks for coming. Yep. This cocktail came to life because of Dave Zobel. I will tell the story. in the lesson today, so it's really good to see you. Dave Zobel is the editor of our first cookbook, Around the World in 12 Dinner Parties, and we're going to reel him in. He doesn't know yet, but I'm going to reel him in to edit our second cookbook that, as you all have heard, is in the works. So that's coming. Oh, you're welcome, Lisa. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Hooray. All right, I'm going to keep checking the time so that we can start right on time. We've got just 1 more minute. So please indulge me as I say hello to all of you before I go into teaching mode. Hey, there's our Jen from Hipcooks San Diego. Good to see you, Jen. We'll be sharing screens later. And interestingly enough, I can't quite remember how to do that. I think I hit the 2 smiley faces on the bottom of the screen. I'm not quite sure. So we're just gonna have to try that. Maybe while I'm doing my class, you can look up and give me some instructions if I need them via text. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. Hi, Mrs. Jack White. Hello. Hi, Haley. Oh, thanks, Jen. That's correct. Okay. Phew, we'll be able to split our screens later. In the meantime, so what I'll do is I'm about to start the class. So wonderful to see all y'all. What I will do is guide you through this very delicious cocktail that we will all make together, and then we'll cheers together virtually, and you'll be able to feel the love palpably through the airwaves of the universe. And then I'm going to split screen and open the session for you guys to ask me your burning questions. Tell me your desires. Let's hear from you and hear what you would like to see. And that's because I've been blogging like mad. I must have a cache of maybe 20 more recipes to push to our blog posts for cooking under quarantine, so that's coming. But you might have seen today from our newsletter that online classes are coming. So I'll be teaching a lot of those next week. We'll be getting our Hipcooks crew involved as we move forward through that technology. So those classes will be on Zoom. But as we open up for our chat session, why don't you tell me some of the classes that you'd like to see or things that you would like to learn? And we shall be happy to oblige. I so look forward to using this platform. The gallery view, especially on Zoom, is wonderful. I'm limiting the classes to 8 people so that we can all really see each other and connect. So I hope that you invite your family in Kentucky, your grandmother in Argentina, your brother across the street, and people to join with you in those cooking classes, and we can use it as a platform to all stay together. Oh, thank you so much for the comments on the blog. I look forward to that too. All right, well, let's get started. I try not to play favorites, and in fact, I do like all types of cocktails, it's true. But one of my very favorite cocktails is called the Sage Rush, and that's what we'll be making this afternoon together. The Sage Rush is a gin-based cocktail made with fresh grapefruit and some lemon. So let's check on ingredients in just a second. And it's made herbaceous with fresh sage. So I love that. It has a bit of a je ne sais quoi. It's a refreshing cocktail. It's not so sage forward that it hits you in the face, but it gives you something really interesting to think about as you sip. And that's my kind of cocktail. I imagine all of you have your stations ready, but let me just talk you through mine very briefly. Oh yeah, I got gin. I know I'm in Portland and Portland makes gin, but I was recently sent this beautiful new Riff gin. They're a family-owned Kentucky, the Lewis family in Kentucky that makes this amazing gin. I love it. I don't have any Blind Tiger, Melody and Sati's gin, which is my other favorite that they make. But this gin is really wonderful. New Riff is famous for bourbon and rye, but they make a great gin that it's quite herbaceous. You know, it's herb forward, but it's not so dry that you're like, ah! You know, it's got this like perfect balance. So I got my gin. Grapefruit. I got lots of grapefruit. I'm so lucky. just before the shito hit the funnel. I was visiting my sister in LA and she has 2 grapefruit trees and I literally filled a suitcase full of grapefruit. So we have grapefruit. If you do not have grapefruit, do not cry, Hipcooks, do not cry. Can you use Meyer lemon? Jessie had asked me. Absolutely, the Meyer lemon has a really sweet citrusy flavor that is gonna be fantastic. In fact, my sister's grapefruit are so sweet that they're a little bit like that. Can you use oranges instead? Heck yeah! I mean, make your sage rush with what you've got and it's gonna be delicious. Okay, I've also got half a lemon to hand, and that might be necessary to brighten up our cocktail a little bit, especially if your grapefruit, like mine, is a little bit sweet. Finally, I've got some fresh sage. Again, it's getting a little long in the tooth. It could be a little bit brighter, couldn't it? But that's okay. It's the perfect time to use it in a cocktail, right? So I like to use everything. Coming up in a blog post next week, it's going to be a monster of a blog post, but I can't wait to write it. It's going to be a whole post on, once you buy herbs, what is the optimal way to keep them fresh? Some herbs like cold temperatures, some don't. Some like to be in water, some don't. Some like to be on the stem, some don't. They're all kind of persnickety and they have their own preferences. So I'd like to write down some optimal storing methods so your herbs stay fresher and longer. Then, when your herbs start to turn, what should you do with them? How can we hold herbs? What are some ways that we can extract the flavor from the herb, and the herb that's getting a little long in the tooth, and do something exciting with them? So that post will also have crispy sage leaves and sage brown butter, and how to make a beautiful emerald green basil oil, like a distillation of basil that's turning, how to make different simple syrups, how to use herbs in different ways and make that flavor last a long time. Because if you're like me, you want your food to like have some punch, especially now. We don't want to eat bland food in these times. So yes, you've got your sage. Then I also have just a little bit of sugar left. I can't find sugar, and my sugar is like this weird raw brown sugar. So that's what I got. Your mileage may vary, and really all you need is a little spoonful of sugar. You'll see when. All right, so I hope you guys have a cocktail shaker. This is necessary because we will be muddling our sage. So if you have a muddler, wonderful. If you don't have a muddler in a glass, maybe like a wooden spoon, something where we can extract the oils from the sage with a tool will be awesome. We'll get to that in a second. I've got a cocktail shaker already primed with some ice, but you'll need that, and a strainer. And of course, the glass that you'll be drinking with. Mine is rather large, note. Okay, excellent. Let me just talk then for just a brief second about ice. I'm going to preload my cocktail glass with ice. And we carry these at Hipcooks, these ice trays. They're so fantastic. They're made of silicone. This is the King Cube tray. I love a cocktail with a, cocktail set all the way. I love a King Cube in my cocktail because then the ice is very slow to melt. It keeps my cocktail cool so I can sip it for a long time, which rarely happens, I know. But I love a nice big ice cube in my drink. Another thing that we have at Hipcooks, which I just love, are these ice cubes. They're called perfect cubes, and they should be. Look at these darling little squares of ice. These too are great for cocktails where a King Cube might not do, and are great in your cocktail shaker. These silicone cube trays also are really good for doing things like if I make a sage butter and I want to freeze it, I can put it in here. If I'm making curry and I have some extra, I can use these vessels to freeze my sauce, or when I'm making stock, if I just need a small amount, and then I can take them out and put them in plastic bags and keep them in the freezer for a while. All right, enough of this chatter. Let's make a cocktail, shall we? No. All right, so let's start with grapefruit. I've got this wonderful grapefruit and a grapefruit press. Dave Zobel has like so many grapefruit trees at his house. So when Lucia and I visited him last year in Palm Springs before our friend Brian's birthday, we harvested, I don't know, hundreds of grapefruit from his tree. And he has one of these machines like bzzz, like electric. And so Lucia put on goggles and must have juiced like 3 gallons of grapefruit. And we made lots of sage rushes that weekend. Thank you, Dave Zobel. So I'm using this citrus press to extract the juice from the grapefruit. If you don't have a citrus press, one of these work well, your hands work well, the strainer works well. All right, I think I've got enough grapefruit. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put a little bit of sugar in the bottom of my cocktail holder thingy maker, you know? I'm a professional. And then I'm gonna put my sage in. And with this muddler, I'm just gonna ever so lightly muddle in the sage with the sugar. The sugar kind of has these rough edges that will encourage the sage to release some of its essential oils. And it already smells fantastic. I'm not here to like puree the sage. I don't want to have bits of sage in my cocktail. I want to have an essence of sage. So that's what we're gonna do here. Great. So now that I have the sage and the brown sugar, let's go ahead and add our gin. Couple ways of doing this too. I want to add about 2 ounces of gin and 2 ounces of grapefruit for a cocktail for me, right? 1 person. You can double up if you're making cocktails for 2. Couple of ways here. So if I need 2 ounces of gin, I can measure it out, right, and pour it in my cocktail shaker, or I can do it the Hipcooks way. The Hipcooks way is we get these bottle stoppers, you know, for pouring olive oil, and you'll also see them in the bars. They're great to top your bottles with because it lets you do a bartender's pour. And what do I mean by that? I mean that if you commit to your pour, so I'm not pouring like this, right? I'm going straight upside down. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. That's exactly 2 ounces. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, exactly 2 ounces. So it's really nice when you might have a cocktail that needs 1 ounce of this booze, 2 ounces of that booze. You know, you can, or 3 ounces of booze. You don't necessarily need to measure all the time. That was water, by the way, just to kind of show you. And that's how you can practice too. You can practice with water just into an ounce measurer and then grow confident in yourself, as you should be. So here I go. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, la 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 la. Perfect for me. All right. And then I'm gonna take, let's see, that was close to, it's about 3.5 with the sage and the sugar, of course. So now I'll add about an equal amount of grapefruit. All right, my next move, and I hope this is okay in Instaland, but I'm gonna shake my heart out right here, and I want you guys to all do the same. Let this be your release. Do it for a good long time because you want your cocktail to be nice and cold. That's how we have a cocktail. So plenty of ice, seal it up, and shake it like your mama taught you. 30 seconds. Get out all your stress. I'll read your comments. No comments? You're all shaking. I love you guys. So funny. It's like, why isn't anybody commenting? Oh yeah, they're all shaking. you need to bang it a few times. It's all good. Oh, Lord. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I forgot the lemon. What would a recipe be if I didn't forget one thing? All right. I could just tell when I smelled it, by the way. A little more. Awesome. And now because I don't want those sage leaves in my cocktail, I just put a strainer right on top. Oh, hallelujah. Cheers to you guys. Happy quarantining. Oh. Deep breath. It's really, really delicious. So thank you to Dave Zobel. Thank you to my sister. Thank you to all you Hipcooks. Cheers to everyone. Cheers to your good health. Cheers to your families. May you all be well. We're looking forward to seeing you at Hipcooks. Oh my gosh, now we get to see you online. The sooner the better, everyone. So that would be excellent. Oh, if I should go slower? Okay, next time I will go slower. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, this is my first post, so yay! All right, I'm gonna open this up to Jen, and I can't wait to hear your comments. And let's see it again. Okay, we'll be posting this, of course, so you can. I'll be going live now with Jen and taking your questions and answering them. Oh, goodness. We've got so many people online. I don't know how I'm going to find you. Jen, maybe, let's see, maybe you can sign off and rejoin so you're at the top. But we've got so many, oh, there you are, good. Gotcha, Jen. All right. In the meantime, I'll read some of your questions. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Monica.
Darling. Oh, my goodness. So wonderful to see you.
So wonderful to see you, and cheers. I was right along with you guys making all that.
Right on. How does yours taste? Mine's delicious.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. And I don't even really, gin is not one of my go-to liquors. And so this is pleasantly, just surprisingly delicious.
See the color of yours. Mine is nice. So you really muddled that gin, but it looks just great.
Yeah, it is delicious.
Oh, can I mention again how much grapefruit? Yes, absolutely. For this cocktail, I used exactly 1 grapefruit, but they were super juicy. So your mileage may vary. I used about 1 of this size from my sister's tree. I had some backups. I saw somebody post that they love Hendrix. Yeah, me too. That's another great one. Awesome. Well, Jen, do you have any questions for me? Have you come?
I do actually. We've had a few come in along the way. There was a question about other herbs to use. So perhaps if someone doesn't have sage, what other herbs would you recommend? Possibly rosemary was a question.
Rosemary would rock the house in this cocktail. Rosemary and grapefruit just absolutely love each other, and that would be great. Another one though that I think would be quite interesting to use would be thyme.
Yeah.
And for us, when you take your everyday walk around your neighborhood, maybe while we still can, look around you and you'll see rosemary growing everywhere.
It so does, yeah.
And you'll also find a lot of sage. I know in my neighborhood we do. And there's also thyme, and I have all of them in my garden. Heck yeah. All right, give me some more questions.
What about for people who don't like gin? Could you make this with vodka? Or could you make this with something else?
If you don't like gin, just, click off. No, just kidding. No, gin's my favorite. But yes, of course you can make this with vodka. Vodka is just like a gin that's been filtered and filtered and filtered, so it's flavorless. So by all means. No, you can use that. And, you can also use tequila. Are people thinking already about like a Paloma? This
Yeah.
is like an herbaceous paloma. So
Yeah.
if you wanted to go sort of down a more like Mexican route with it, you could use an herb called epazote. I grocery
Oh, yes.
use dried epazote. You could make an epazote simple syrup with grapefruit and tequila. Rim the glass with some salt, and that would be amazing.
Nice. That sounds delicious. Gotta try that one next.
Yeah.
There was a few people asking about how much sugar you put in there too.
For me, because my grapefruit were sweet, I only put in like a little teaspoon of sugar, and like this is all the sugar I have left in my whole life. So I was kind of stingy anyway. And I think it really depends on taste. Let me taste. Mine is sweet enough. Well, what I didn't do when I made the drink, and yeah, I was probably going a little fast, so thanks for that comment to slow down. At some point, I would usually taste my cocktail to make those like last minute refinements. So, and I wouldn't be afraid of adding a bit more sugar before shaking, because this is so citrusy that I wouldn't be afraid that I would like, have grains of sugar in my drink. But for the most part, like that's why we use simple syrup instead of sugar in cocktails. Here, the sugar is necessary, especially at that muddling stage. Again, because it helps the sage release its essential oils into the bottom of the glass. So, yeah.
Nice. There was a question that came in about what if you do not have fresh herbs? Is there any option with dry herbs?
Yeah, I think that dried rosemary would work pretty well. Thyme. Another thing you could do with those herbs then is you could omit the sugar and omit the fresh herb, but make a simple syrup. And you just need an ounce of simple syrup, but maybe you can just go ahead and make, say, half a cup of sugar, half a cup of water, put in your dried herb of your choice, and it'll smell interesting. Don't worry, a simple syrup that's based out of like marjoram or oregano or dried thyme, dried poultry seasoning. I don't know, try it. But the whole idea here is to get a hint of an herbaceous flavor going on.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, is that Jay-Z? Oh, good to see you. You'll teach the next cocktail one.
Yeah, exactly, Jay-Z. We're counting on you. There was a question about basil too, which, to be honest, mine is with basil because I couldn't find sage today for some reason. Just wasn't at the market. So I went with basil. Let me tell you, it is delicious.
Yeah, I love basil in cocktails. And of course, like basil, you could muddle basil with strawberry.
Oh yeah.
And that would be super. Add a little lemon. You could even make that like wine or prosecco based, or that goes with tequila. It goes with gin. It goes with vodka. Absolutely. You'll find actually in our cookbook coming up, the cocktail cookbook, most of our cocktails use ingredients from the kitchen, like herbs, like tamarind syrup, like some things that you'd find in the kitchen cupboards. It's more like kitchen cocktails.
Yeah. All right. We have a non-cocktail related question.
Oh, good. I'll take it.
Yeah. So one of them is that they have a lot of milk right now in their fridge and they don't want it to go bad. So they're trying to figure out what recipes they can use with milk before it goes bad, possibly freeze it.
Jen, you want to take this one?
Recommendations.
Oh, do we have an answer for you? So Jen and I just spoke yesterday. In fact, all the teachers, we were talking about the last thing we had made that week, just to kind of get our conversation going. And Jen, and I believe that we recorded that. That's on our YouTube class that we're going.
Yes.
And I believe, Jen, you said that you made mozzarella. Now that would be a pretty enterprising thing for the home chef to do, but not untenable. It does require some specialty ingredients though as well, best with raw milk. So, we can certainly go down that path. But before I do, I would say if you have extra milk, a wonderful and super tasty thing to make would be ricotta. And I can go live with the ricotta recipe on the blog for you. But that is basically just milk and some lemon juice. And you put it in a cloth over your sink and let it drain, and you have amazing, rich, wonderful ricotta that you have that then will hold for longer, and you have plenty of things to do. I also freeze milk, by the way. I find when I unfreeze it, it can separate more. So what I tend to do is I give it a few blitzes in the Vitamix, bring it back.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah. So that's also another option, by the way. You don't have to be as industrious as we suggest. How about you, Jen? Any ideas with the milk?
With the milk?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a ricotta cheese girl, 100%. It is one of those things that is surprisingly very easy to make. Doesn't require a lot of ingredients, and is a showstopper. I'm kind of one for those kind of low minimal effort but high impact, and people are very wowed by it. You're like, oh my god, you made this from scratch? You're like, yes, I slaved all day over this.
Right.
I really did it.
You brought that into lasagna, but it's also really nice just tossed into pasta with some fresh mint. You can stuff it into veggies. You can do so many things with it. So
yeah, really good. So yeah, that's where my heart lives, is with cheese.
Oh, Carissa, thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, there are a few. So I think there were a few people also asking how much lemon went into the cocktail.
Half a lemon.
Half a lemon. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're making a cocktail for two, i.e., if you have 2 ounces, 4 ounces of gin and 4 ounces, it's equal parts of gin and grapefruit. And so with 2 and 2, I did half a lemon. If you're making it for 2 people, so 4 and 4, you use a lemon. But again, you know, your mileage may vary on the lemon. The lemon will just lift up that sweetness, just give you another little punch of sour. And if you don't have it, don't cry. It's okay. Well, instead, of course, too.
Someone would like to know, where do I get or how do I make tamarind syrup?
Ooh, yes. Great question. At Hipcooks, we always have tamarind concentrate in our refrigerator. So I'd be curious if that chef does have tamarind concentrate in their refrigerator. That's something, it's one of my go-tos that I always have. Our favorite brand is called Tamicon, Tamicon. You can buy it in Asian markets, but good old Amazon has it for sure. And we use our tamarind concentrate when we make our pad thai in our Thai class. We all use it a lot in our Indian classes when we're making Indian sauces and curries. It's super, super sour. So that's my favorite part about it. And so making a tamarind simple syrup for a cocktail just involves a simple syrup like any other. You would do half part sugar or honey. Tamarind loves honey. So half part sugar or honey and water, and then add a generous dollop of that tamarind concentrate, and it makes a really delicious tamarind simple. And I have so much tamarind simple in my fridge right now because I got it from the Portland studio. If anyone here in Portland and wants some, I can share.
Nice. Kind of in the same realm, we have somebody who says, I have some awesome fresh homemade jams. How would you use these in a cocktail?
Oh, in a cocktail. Wow. Experiment is what I would say. I love that idea. I think it's really delicious. It could be really delicious. I would probably thin out the jam again by adding it to some water. So not like a simple syrup. We don't need any more sugar in there, but I would probably let it simmer on the stove with some water, or you could use like a vermouth or a white wine as well, and kind of make a it would be sort of like a slurry, if you will, of those ingredients. And then you can play, and you can add it to your cocktail shaker, and it could go again with many types of alcohol and be really refreshing. So yeah, that's a really fun idea. I like it.
I know. I have never thought of that before, and now I'm gonna go raid my fridge for jam and play with it.
Right. What do you think about my answer to that question? Is that a similar way that you might roll, or did you have a different idea?
I think that's the first thought that comes to my mind too, is kind of making it into some kind of simple syrup. But maybe
And it's okay. Like, you don't need to strain it. Like leave those chunks in there because a cocktail, like bits of fruit are fantastic. So,
yeah. Do you maybe want to talk about the basis of simple syrup and how we make that?
Yes, and I'm happy to do a detailed blog post about it as well. But essentially, it's half sugar, half water for a very basic simple syrup. And your mileage may vary. If you're typically a person that doesn't like sweet, you can reduce that ratio. If you love sweet cocktails, up it. But essentially, you're boiling the water and the sugar together until the sugar dissolves. It becomes suspended in the water, and then you're ready to use it as a sweetener to your cocktail. But what's fun is while you've got sugar and water boiling together, you might as well add some flavor. And there's so many ways you can do that. You can add in fresh herbs like we talked about, or you can also add various spices. Like you can make a cinnamon, cardamom, star anise. You can add favorites. Yeah, in fact, we have a cocktail happy hour posted at hipcooks.com. All of our classes are our online classes, our live stream classes are at our Hipcooks West LA site. And in fact, there is one coming up, a cocktail happy hour this week, which makes an Indian cocktail. We call it the Far East cocktail. And in that class, we'll be making simple syrup, and we'll be making a very exotic simple syrup. So I definitely invite you to join us for cocktail.
And how long will a simple syrup last?
Oh, super long time. You probably will use it first. Keep it in a glass jar in your fridge, and it will last for, easily a month, but probably much longer. I find that you'll have uses for it first, not just in cocktails, but you can add, what if you made a spiced simple syrup that you add to your morning coffee instead of sugar or honey? Again, it gives it like a little touch of the exotic. You'll find different uses for your simple syrup other than in drinks. Shocking, I know, but and you can use them up that way. It's fun.
Nice. Well, we have people who are already planning their simple syrups. We have lavender, we have apricot, we've got all kinds of comments on here.
Lavender for sure is one of my favorites. In fact, in our cookbook that's coming out, we have a lavender lemon cocktail. And it comes out this delightful pink color from our lavender simple syrup, but the cocktail itself doesn't taste girly at all. It's like, it's really flavor forward, and I love it. So yes, please experiment with that. It's so good to see you too.
Well, I have a question for you, Monica. I feel like we're all at home and we're all feeling this like need for comfort. What is your go-to comfort food? What are you pulling out to make?
It's what I've been eating this week is Persian food. Actually, I mentioned that in the very beginning. My comfort food is food that gives me vitality, actually. Like I don't go for like super heavy things. When I eat something, I like for it to nourish me, and I want it to give me energy, and I want it to wake me up. I want to feel really good when I eat it. So I've been celebrating the Persian New Year myself by doing lots of home cleaning things out, cleaning the drapes and doing all those classic things.
Yeah.
I made a Persian yogurt soup. The recipe from my mother, I photographed it for the blog. My comfort food right now, because it's basically, and you'll see the recipe coming up very soon, but it's grated cucumber with yogurt. And then I put in a lot of dill and lemon, and you would use like a sour cherry. I'd use goji berry. I put in dill. I put in chopped hard-boiled egg. And it was something that when I ate, dairy I find to be comforting, or yogurt comforting, but this would fill me up but still make me feel really good. It would be very good. So that's what I'm eating. How about you, Jen? What's your favorite comfort food?
I'm a glutton for pasta. If there's pasta and there's cheese, I'm there.
You and the chair, 2 peas in a pod. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we'll be making fresh pasta actually this week with Lucia. We'll be making a kid style, the longest linguine ever, courtesy of Lucia. And then I'll take some adult spins on it by making a saffron pasta and a dill pasta and maybe 2 sauces to go with them. So we'll see online for that one.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So how can people find our blog?
So if you go to www.hipcooks.com, one of the tabs, if you scroll down, there's a quick link that says hop to our blog, or you can go to any location. So at the very top, it'll say like, find my location, click West LA. That's where that's our home for all of our online classes that you can take from anywhere. So go to West LA, and then from there too, you'll find a link at that menu bar to our recipe blog. So please use it. Please comment on the recipe blog. I'd love to see what inspires you, and I'd love to have conversations with everyone on the blog as well.
Awesome.
Great. I would say, please, if you guys have any suggestions of things that you'd like for us to cook, that you'd like to go, that you'd like to see us go live with, please send them our way. This was our very first session, so thank you so much for joining us. And we hope that this becomes a nice, healthy habit for all of us.
Yes. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. All right, you guys. Oh, that Persian soup. Yes, there we go. Thank you for sending the blog, Daisy. All right, you guys. Well, I think then it's about time to sign off. Yes. Okay. All right. Well, love to everyone. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad you liked it, Jessie. Do something with spinach. Okay, I can do that. That's easy. I have some growing in my yard. Oh, thank you. All right, everyone. Cheers, cheers.